That beautiful blue ribbon. Hestia is bestia memes. Everything is finally returned after only 2 years. I really did feel like it was longer since we had the last season of Danmachi, but yes, it's finally returned. We're ready to get back into the dungeon, it seems, with this season. But it's my thoughts on the first episode of the premiere of season 4 of Danmachi. So let's jump into it. Honestly, I had to end up watching the recap episode. I really do enjoy whenever these shows do have a recap, especially after 3 seasons of stuff to go through. And I was really kind of surprised to see in the opening sequence we had, the whole blessing stat sheet has finally returned. One of the comments that myself and my brother make quite often about this show is how this writer loves to get into cool concepts and then quickly just leave them behind and never address them ever again. And one concept that it seems like this writer has left behind for what seems like probably 2 seasons at least is the concept of the stat sheets, the blessing of the goddess. This ritual where the god or goddess of their familia is able to actually look at their stats and see where they're currently at. And yeah, it's been so long. Apparently Belle made it to rank 4, so congratulations, I guess. It was really cool because getting into our first battle of this episode, it really does look like Belle has significantly increased in skill, and add into that, if he ever has Haruhime with him, that's literally a level 5 that he's at now. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly where this particular season's going to be going, what direction it's going, but based on the first episode, it really does feel like it's going to the endgame. This whole episode has been the development of a party to go to the final floor. We are going to go to the deepest point of the labyrinth in order to basically undo everything. It seems like Fels and Oranos' whole idea here is that the Xenos and humans will never be able to coexist until the labyrinth itself has been conquered, essentially. It was odd that they're being very vague about what exactly is the end game. What Fels is saying is at this deepest point of the labyrinth is a covenant that was forged and a conclusion. It's like, okay, just say what it is. What is at the bottom of this labyrinth? And what are we looking at? No, let's just form a party. What is down there? We need to go down there in order to make everything happy. Oh, well, it's this thing, this conclusion. Well, no crap. I mean, if we're going to fix everything, obviously that's down there. What is down there? I guess that would be too easy to just give us the conclusion at this point. But yeah, good episode though, overall. Just, again, technically forming the party. Everybody doing what they need to do to prepare for it. Some people training, some people getting a little insight into things. Like Mikoto gets a little more insight, the idea that it's not just about your status. What rank you are and everything is not important. It is your technique and strategy, which technically does coincide with Belle. What has Belle always been? Yes, he's been the overpowered main character, but he's also he's not really overpowered main character. He has plenty of points where he's the worst. But he always overcomes things. Even though he's level 1, he takes down a Minotaur. Even though he was level, I don't know, whatever level he was, maybe 2 or 3, he was able to take down this really big Minotaur. He always overcomes things just by sheer will and doing something that nobody else expected. Again, technically with the first Minotaur, he stabbed the thing and then injected firebolt inside of the thing. It wasn't that he was strong, it's just that he figured out a strategy to take this thing down. Welf does his usual blacksmithing, creates some really good equipment, additionally making a weapon for Oka. And Haruhime has a training drill with Aisha where she learns other magic. Aisha knowing that Haruhime is going, knowing that the only thing useful about her is that she's able to increase people's levels, she wanted to give her something more. So what they're implying is this grimoire that Aisha had is something that kind of, when you read it, immediately trains you stuff. Learning magic takes a long time, but this grimoire apparently is able to immediately train her in skills. But I like that. I mean, technically the entire arc with Haruhime, Aisha was technically trying to goat Belle into saving her. Let's be perfectly honest. Aisha was never technically a bad girl. Again, she was technically going by the whims of her goddess, and they all wanted to level up, so Haruhime was a sacrifice. And yes, the entire arc, she was technically goading Belle. Oh, you want to save her? Come on. She wasn't just leaving. She could have just taken Haruhime, ran, and then had her killed. No, she was, again, trying to get Belle to save her. I'll be perfectly honest, most of the other characters like Daphne and Cassandra, I do vaguely remember their god and the whole alchemy thing they do. But no, that was the other cool thing in this episode. I've always loved Lily. I mean, yes, Hestia's bestia. Really love her Seiyu and everything. She's just a goofball. But honestly, for me, a lot of my love was in Lily. I've always hated. I get so much hate for this. I've never cared for Eyes. Eyes has always been kind of my weak point of Danmachi series, and especially when we got into Sword Art Oratoria. I was bored watching Sword Art Oratoria because I didn't care about Eyes. I felt like she was always very blank. I know there's a huge fandom, and so all the power to you guys. But Lily has always been my thing. Like, I've always loved Lily's character. She's just super cute. I just love her demeanor. I love the struggles she had early on. I feel like she's the one that's had, yes, her story arc where we got into her origins, her old familia, that stuff was super good. That was easily one of my favorite arcs in this show. It hit me so hard. This whole concept of the drugs that she was under and all this kind of stuff that she had to go through was super good. I really did love its conclusion and everything. It wasn't very whimsical about its conclusion. It was kind of very harsh about how it was concluded, but I really loved it. So, the problem that we've always had with Lily is that she's never really seen much growth as a support. I've always hated that idea, and that's technically in this world itself. It seems like those that are under support don't really get much out of the situation. Even though they're always helping other people, even though she's always guiding Belle, even though she's doing a lot to guide the battle, which is what they're hitting on with this episode, even though she does all this stuff to support, she's not gaining rank. She's not getting stronger. She's still level 1. And as Daphne, I believe it was pointing out, you're going to be the first to die. You know that, right? We're going to the deepest point of this dungeon. You're going to die. You're going to be the first one to die. Well, yeah, it's kind of shocking. And even though Cassandra's trying to stop her, she's like, no, I want to tell her the truth. She's going somewhere where she shouldn't be. So Daphne's perspective is, instead of being in the front lines where you're going to die, you should be in the back lines being a strategist. And so she wants to guide her, wants to give her some pointers on how she can be the one. And we get to see a little bit of that in the end of this episode. You get to be the one that will guide people. You will be the strategist in the back lines. And I think that's going to be really cool. Again, I kind of hope that will help boost her skill. But again, I don't think that in this world, I don't think it works like that. I really don't. And it makes me wonder why some characters in the show that are just purely supports do level. Maybe it's because even if they are a holy healer or something like that, maybe they have some holy spells and they're allowed to get some hits in. But I would really, when they were mentioning this, I was kind of expecting, okay, well, that means that probably, hopefully at some point, Lily will get that last hit in on something and it will rank her up. Something that will help boost her up. Or, again, at the same time, she could always remain as a level 1 support and all the way to the end of the story, and that's just her thing. But like I said, because I love Lily so much, I would love to see some sort of growth. Something that gives her some sort of skill that she can get. Yes, technically, her as a support, as a gatherer, I think she does have some sort of item skills and stuff like that. I would hope that at some point, this writer will have her give not just character growth, but actual growth as a support. But really cool though. We have our party gathered together. I love that they actually made the comment again that Hestia was mad that she couldn't go down the dungeon with them. I'm like, you've gone in the dungeon before. Yeah, you guys never follow that rule. Don't even act like you guys follow that rule. You went in the dungeon before. I don't even remember what it was that caused her to go down there. I think they kidnapped her. I think that was what it was. Maybe it's just a thing that she can go in there. She's not supposed to go in there. She was just kidnapped to go down there. So yeah, either way, I am excited for this show to come back. I am glad we're getting back into the Labyrinth, getting back in that stuff. I'll be perfectly honest. I've always been wishy-washy with Danmachi. And again, like I've said before, my main issue with Danmachi has always been around the fact that this writer likes to create concepts and then ignore them. Again, like the whole idea of the stat sheet. He presents that idea, it seems really cool, we're seeing this unique skill within Belle, and then we never address it ever again. And then suddenly, like I said, now it pops back up. But yeah, the Labyrinth, all that kind of stuff, the Zeno, it always seems like this writer just gets so sidetracked with different concepts. But the core thing has always been, I've always enjoyed these stories, and I always enjoyed the idea of all these characters, all these familia, and all this stuff that it gets stuck in a good way. But I think at the core of my thoughts on Danmachi as a whole, besides forgetting about concepts that he presents, I also don't really care much for the waifu of the season. And I hope that this is going to be the one that's going to get away from that. Because again, we've technically gone, each season is developing another waifu. So we had the Haruhime arc, we had the Winne arc. Hopefully, this one, and I haven't seen anything in the previews, I haven't seen anything in the key arts. Hopefully this one will get away from the let's get another waifu. I don't know, we could still. It's not that having more waifus is bad. That's the whole concept of the show itself. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? But at the same time, I think trying to introduce a new character every single season and getting into their story always sidetracks from the overall story. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on Danmachi Season 4's first episode. Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you're excited for the season, let me know down in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you like this video. I definitely appreciate it. And additionally, if you've not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.